2023, done by phone. If you and the city attorney can resolve it, then the city attorney reports the results back to me, and I usually approve it. If you can't reach a resolution, then you come back to me before for a trial. Those of you facing traffic offenses should understand that you can't accumulate 12 or more points in a year. If you do, your license will be suspended. You will also be fined. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before entering a plea. You have a right to a trial. You also have a right to ask for a continuance. Please remember your rights when considering your plea. And then if you have an operating motor vehicle while intoxicated or with a prohibited alcohol concentration or with restricted controlled substances, those are known as drunk driving cases, you can have your case heard the circuit court, but you can only ask for a jury fee within 10 days of today's hearing. In other words, if you want a jury trial for a drunk driving case, you request the jury trial, pay the fees within 10 days today. If you lose that, if you don't pay within 10 days, what happens is you can have a hearing in my court and then appeal it to the Dane County Court, but you can't have a jury trial. All our cases will be heard in my courtroom with the right to appeal my decision to the Dane County Circuit Court. That concludes my opening remarks. At this point, I will call the first case. Oh, thank you. Tristan Deason. Mr. Deason, do I have your correct address on Marsh Court in Oregon?
No, sir.
What is your address?
I'm receiving mail at 915 South Page Street, Stoughton, Wisconsin.
That was 915 South Page Street, P-A-G-E, Stoughton, Wisconsin, 53589.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're facing two citations. One is operating motor vehicle while intoxicated. Do you understand what operating motor vehicle while intoxicated is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You don't need me to review the elements with you?
No, sir.
Okay. So the penalties for OWI are as follows. OWI, drunk driving, I just abbreviated as OWI. The penalty range on this is $150 to $300. However, they add an assessment charge. So essentially, the forfeiture is $700 to about $1,000. You're at $861. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, in addition to that, if you're found guilty, you have to attend an alcohol and driving assessment class, and 6 points are assessed against your driver's license. Your driver's license can be revoked between 6 and 9 months. And the way I determine that is that if you're, I rely on your blood alcohol content. If you're a 1.5 or less, it's 6 months. If you're a 1.5 to 0.199, it's 7 months. If you're 0.2 or greater, it's 8 months. And then if there is a bad driving, I usually add a month to it. That's the chart range that I have. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. If there was a blood draw, there's an additional $62.82 charge that I can add in addition to the $861. If your blood alcohol content was a 1.5 or higher, or you've had a previous OWI, say more than 10 years ago, then the state mandates I have to order an interlock ignition device be installed in all your vehicles. All vehicles that you own and vehicles that you drive for a period of 12 months. Do you understand what IID is, an interlock ignition device? Do you understand what that is? Okay. In addition to the IID, there's also a $50 surcharge. You understand all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in addition, you're facing a second citation called operating motor vehicle with prohibited alcohol concentration. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
Your blood alcohol, that it determines for first offense OWI, it's 0.08 or higher. So there's two citations, but although you have two citations, the penalties are the same: $861, alcohol and drug assessment, 6 points, 6 to 9 month revocation, and then IID if you're over a 1.5. However, I can only find you on one of these. So I can find you guilty of both, but the total forfeiture you'd be facing would be $861, not $1,260.
Yes, sir.
Plus $82.62 and the $50 surcharge. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we've gone through the elements. We've gone through the range of penalties. I've told you about the alcohol and drug assessment and the points and the elements of the offense. The OWI elements are operating motor vehicle while intoxicated on a public highway or premises held out to public use with while under the influence of an intoxicant. Prohibited alcohol concentration, you're driving motor vehicle upon highways or premises held out for the public use with a prohibited alcohol concentration as well. You understand the elements?
Yes, sir.
All right, any procedural questions for me?
No, sir.
All right, now is the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I'm gonna plead no contest.
You understand the no contest plea? If there's a factual basis in the police report, I'll find you guilty.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. These reports are long, so it might take me a minute to read these. Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on sentence?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to make the following findings. I'll make the findings that you were involved with a crash. I'll make the finding that you were the driver. I'll find you guilty of the OWI offense. I'll find that your blood alcohol content was a 1.6. Since it was a 1.6, I'm going to impose the following penalties: $861 forfeiture, alcohol and drug assessment, 6 points. You're a 1.6 with that puts it 7, but you did cause an accident that night, so I have your driver's license be revoked for 8 months. In addition to that, since you're above a 1.5, I have to order an interlock condition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name and for all vehicles you drive for a period of 12 months.
I don't have a vehicle.
You don't have a vehicle?
No.
Let's see, so if I impose it, you have to install it. When you obtain your occupational license or next vehicle, the 12 months will start once you obtain a valid
I
license.
walk to work, so I don't have a car. So
You don't have
I
a
walk
what?
to work. I don't have a car.
You don't have a car? You want to work?
Yes, sir.
Oh, walks to work. Okay. So if you walk to work, then you won't need it. But the 12 months will start once you get once you start driving again. You can't sit it out. You can't say 12 months. There's no IID. Once you get a driver's license, that's when once you get an occupational or a valid license, that's when the 12 months would start.
Yeah, because the DMV has it suspended till November.
Okay, that's just an administrative suspension. This will run concurrently with that, so this will be a revocation through till January.
Okay.
But you do have a 12-month IID requirement then as well.
Okay.
Okay, so IID, so I'll impose the $62.82 surcharge for blood and $50 surcharge for the IID. $973.82 will be the total forfeiture. So 861. Okay. How much time do you need to pay?
I was gonna do a payment plan on it,
Okay. How much can you pay per month?
maybe like 120.
Okay. So what we'll do, what's that, 9 cents? Yeah. Okay, so that, I'll give you a 9-month payment plan. If you want to just make the $120 payment should cover it. If you need additional time, just let us know.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Send them the paperwork, we can start either September 1st or August 1st, whichever.
Do you want to, we can send you the paperwork. You want to start paying the fine on August 1st or September 1st?
I'll do September.
Okay, September 1st, that's fine. I've got a court order signed for drug assessment, so what you have to do is you have to sign up for this within 72 hours of today's date. I'll have the bailiff give you these forms. You can sign both and make sure that you give one back to the officer. That way you can keep a copy and I can keep a copy.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks. Okay, thank you. I've got that for our records. Make sure there's a number on there. You got to call and sign up for an assessment within 72 hours.
The assessment on the one he signed.
Yes.
There's a sheet that also explains the phone number to call.
It's 608-280-2630. It's on the box and halfway down the middle. Okay. All right. Mr. Deason, before you go, what did you learn?
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah. We would have been worse if you had a passenger or were involved in an accident. If you get caught again in 10 years, it's a criminal penalty too. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. Any other questions for me?
No,
They'll
sir.
take care of it this evening. And thank you.
Thank you.
Nicholas Reedy. Mr. Reedy, do I have your correct address in Vernon Street in Stoughton?
1233.
1233?
Yeah.
Okay. You're facing a citation, you've been cited for dogs and cats not to run at large. This citation carries a penalty of $124. Do you understand what dogs and cats not to run at large is?
Yeah.
Do you understand the elements?
Yep.
You don't need me to review the ordinance with you?
No.
Okay. Forfeiture on this is, the minimum would be a $25 forfeiture and the maximum would be a $1,000 forfeiture. You're at $50 plus costs, so you're not at the minimum forfeiture, but you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Okay. Any procedural questions for me?
Nope.
Now's the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Not guilty.
Okay, so with a not guilty plea, under the not guilty plea, I'll give you a pretrial conference notice in just a minute. Was it August 19th? August 16th is the date. That day, there's a number we'll call the city attorney, give him the reasons why you're not, you have a pretrial conference to see if you'll resolve this. It's your chance to tell your side of the story, so supply the prosecutor with whatever witnesses or evidence bolsters your case, see if you can resolve it. If you can resolve it, what happens is the prosecutor will tell me what the results are. I prove it almost every time, unless there's some type of technical deficiency with it. If you can't get it resolved, what happens then is that it comes back to me, and then I have a trial over it. I hear the city's witnesses first, then your witnesses, and then I decide the case based upon the facts that I've heard.
Do we just handle that now, or do
I can't negotiate. So that's why I have to wait for the city prosecutor. That way, they'll have the police report in front of them as well, so they'll be able to determine that. So make sure that you make the call on August 16th, because if you don't, I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty. So just make the call. So, any questions?
Nope.
You'll get the form in just a minute. Once you get that, that will take care of it for this evening then. Thank you.
Thank you. Got it.
Victoria Smith. Ms. Smith, do I have your correct address on South Street in Stoughton?
Yep.
You've been cited for non-registration of auto. That carries a penalty of 0 points and a forfeiture of $98.80. Do you understand what non-registration of auto is?
Yes,
Okay, it means your car wasn't registered. You had a piece of paper in your hand. Did you register the automobile?
I have,
Do you want to give
yes.
that to the bailiff?
Oh, yeah, the original one.
Thank you.
Data violation, June 12th.
Where's the auto? I can find it quicker on here. There it is. Okay. Thank you. And you took care of this within days after receiving the citation?
Yeah, as quickly as I remembered.
Okay. The court's goal on this is to make sure that the vehicles are registered. When you've done that, you've accomplished the court's goal, and the court's on motion that will dismiss the citation. So you
Cool.
don't owe anything, and then that will take care of it then.
Alrighty.
And we'll give you a dismissal notice in just a second.
Alright. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan Caravella? There's two of them. Oh, I see. Got it. Mr. Caravella, do I have your correct address on Shady Side Drive in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for retail theft, taking less than $500. Do you understand what retail theft is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the forfeiture on this is $187. That's $100 plus costs. Forfeiture ranges on this is $50 to $1,000. So you're not at the minimum, but you're at the lower end of the scale. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. In addition to that, I can order restitution. You know what restitution is?
I have to pay back.
The value of the merchandise that was
Yeah.
allegedly taken, if it was damaged or it wasn't recovered. So what I typically do with restitution hearings is I usually let them request it. Actually, was this a Walmart case? Okay, so if what I'd usually do for these on these type of cases, that if there's a amount on the police report, I usually add it to the amount owing. So in other words, if I took a pack of cigarettes and was cited for it, I would have to pay the $10 in restitution fee as well. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any procedural questions for me?
No.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. I'm looking at the police report. The cigarettes I used was just hypothetical. I didn't
You
know
guessed it.
anything about it then. So. Yeah, I don't know anything about your case until I review the police report. So that was just happenstance that it was the same thing. Okay, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your guilty plea, and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I sign on a sentence?
No, I was wondering if you could help me pay for the citation, or how do I do that? I have cash. Can I drop that off somewhere here?
So, Okay, with that, we can talk about payment then. I do find the amount of citation to be appropriate, $187. I do also find that I will order restitution for the pack of cigarettes, and I think it was the beef stick. The pack of Marlboro cigarettes would be valued at $10.56, and then the beef stick was $2.19. So, total restitution the citation $187. When I add the $10.56 and the $2.19, the total amount owing will be $199.75.
Just the restitution amount, sorry.
Sure.
And-
The restitute, 1056
and
plus $2.19, that is $12.75.
And which quick trip?
It was.
Quick,
1359 US Highway 51.
okay, that's, Park, what is that, Kettle Park?
Okay, Kettle Park, okay. So 1056 plus 219, 1275 plus 27. So the total amount owing would be $199.75. You said you have cash, can you pay for that this evening?
Not all $200. I just brought the original 187.
Okay, if you have 187, you can make that payment in the dispatch window downstairs. I'll give you the form, you can just take that to the dispatch window to make the payment, and then you owe the $12.75 in restitution. How much time do you need to pay for that?
By the end of the week, I could.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days. Just make
Okay.
sure that you don't, because if you leave that open and still $12.75, what can I do for that? I could probably I can't suspend your license, I'd have to do a tax intercept then. So make sure that you pay the $12.75 within 30
Okay.
days, so I don't have to take the court doesn't have to take any further collection action then.
Sure.
Okay, anything else?
No, thank you.
What did you learn?
Don't steal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why not?
You get caught.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty easy with today's technology then too.
Yeah.
So, okay. Make sure that you don't, because the penalties could be worse, or you could be at circuit court. There could be criminal penalties as well. So
Thank you, sir.
I'll give you the disposition.
The next one, it was crossed off, but he's here, so that will.
Okay, okay. I'll give you the disposition form in just, or the bailiff will. Once you receive it, that will take care of it this evening then.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Joel Bratland. Do you have your correct address in Washington Road in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
All right. You received a few citations. One is for failure of operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance. That forfeiture carries a penalty of $10. Do you understand what operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A $10 forfeiture, that's self-explanatory. There's really no range of it. That's basically the range. Second citation is non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 0 points issued or license. The forfeiture range on non-registration of auto is as follows. I think it's $30 to like $300, but let me verify that. 341,041. 0 to $200. So you're 30 plus cost. You're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. You understand what non-registration of auto is?
Yes, sir.
All right. The third citation is failure to obtain vehicle title. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80. Again, that's $30 plus costs. Forfeiture range on this, I bet it's going to be the same, but let me check. For each citation, by law, I have to give you the forfeiture range of each citation. So that's $0 to $200. You understand what failure to obtain vehicle title is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, have you updated your registration?
So I have attempted to.
Okay. So if you haven't, if you had, I dismiss it at the court. But if you haven't, maybe what I would suggest, you just need more time to pay for this.
I've got another court case
Okay.
pending.
How about,
within-
I can't hear too much about the facts of the
That's
case.
fine, that's
So
fine.
we can do it two ways. You can enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutor, or if you want to just ask for a continuance to give you more time to update your registration.
I mean, a continuance would be fantastic.
Where you come back here. You
Yeah.
have to come back here.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
When would that occur?
Do you want to, let's do 60 days.
Okay.
60
Yes,
days,
sir.
that should allow you some time to clear a lot of this up then, so.
Yeah.
September 20th.
September 20th will be the next court date. All right, do we have a notice form, or will we mail a
I'll
notice?
mail it.
We'll mail the notice to you that way in the next court date then, so.
Okay.
Okay, unless you have any questions, I'll take care of it this evening then.
No, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. David Esmond? Mr. Esmond, do I have your correct address on Forest Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of 0 points and a forfeiture of $98.80. That's $30 plus cost. The forfeiture range is $0 to $200. Now, I saw you holding a piece of paper in your hand. Did you update your registration?
I did.
All right. Thanks.
So yeah, violations, June 13th.
And this was for the same vehicle?
Yes.
Do you only have the one, actually, do you only have the one vehicle?
No, I have two.
But this is the only one that was expired registration then? The VIN
Yes.
number isn't on that.
Oh, okay.
So you
Sorry.
received it, when did you go update your registration?
As far as I know, it was right away.
Okay, because of that, again, the court's goal is just to make sure that cars are registered. You met the court's goal, so on its own motion, the court will dismiss this citation. I'll give you a receipt of that dismissal in just a minute. That'll take care of it then. Thank you for coming in. You ready?
Yeah, McMullen.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
got
really
it.
a messy docket.
Yeah. Dustin McMullen? Mr. McMullen, do I have your correct address in East Bluff in Madison?
That is correct.
Okay, you received a citation for non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of 0 points and a forfeiture of $98.80. That's $30 fine plus cost. The forfeiture range is $0 to $200. You also had a piece of paper in your hand. Did you update your registration?
Yes, sir.
You want to hand that to the bailiff?
Yeah.
Thanks.
June 13th also.
These don't need automatic registration. So this was the same vehicle that you were pulled over for?
That is correct.
Okay, you did it soon after you received the violation on June 13th?
I
June 17th, yeah, within a few days, so, okay. The court's goal is to make sure the cars are registered. You obtain that goal. Therefore, the court will go ahead and dismiss the citation on its own motion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. That will take care of it then. Whose number?
Is next.
Oh, he crossed it out.
Yeah, it's really was a mess, because he called and rescheduled, and then he showed up.
Okay.
So.
Tyler Horton? If you want to come up to the podium. The podium. Mr. Horton, do I have your correct address on Lincoln Avenue in Stoughton?
Yes.
Okay. You received a citation for criminal damage to property. This citation carries a penalty of $187. That's a $100 fine plus cost. You
Yes,
understand the forfeiture amount?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, criminal damage to property, do you understand what the elements for that citation?
Yes.
Do you want me to read them to you?
Yes, can
Okay.
you please?
Yes, so it's ordinance number 50-4. Now, an ordinance is a city law, and city law, I'll read it to you, 50-4 states kind of as follows. It's going to say it adopts state statutes, but let me read it to you, that way you have a good understanding where
Appreciate
this
it.
is. All right. Now, 50-4 says offenses against public and private property. All right. And one of these that adopted is 94301, subsection 1, called criminal damage to property. Now, This is a civil court. I can only fine you. I can't necessarily have, it's not criminal, I'm not a criminal court. So
Yes.
even though it says criminal property, it's basically damage to property, but
Yes.
that says 94301. So let me get out that statute.
So I'm gonna get charged with the criminal,
No, you are not.
Okay.
It's just a forfeiture.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Yep. If you're before me, that means it's not a criminal matter.
Okay.
Criminal damage to property is 94301 sub 1, which states as follows. Whoever intentionally causes damage to any physical property of another without the person's consent is guilty. Does that help you understanding?
That's not me.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's not you,
Yeah.
if you don't think that you committed this, my
Yeah.
suggestion would be to enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutor about it. Is
Yes.
that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what we'll do. All right, I'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea. So I'll give you a notice in just a minute. There will be a phone number for you to call on August 16th. Make sure that you call that number, because if you don't call that number, what will happen then is I will find you default and I'll find you guilty. So make sure that you call that number. In addition to the forfeiture of 187, I can also order that restitution as well. So the restitution would be the damage that you allegedly caused. But
Yes, sir.
you and the city attorney can talk to you about the citation, any damage, or maybe possibly resolve the case. So make sure that you appear, make sure you make that call, and then if you guys reach a resolution, then I'll basically prove it. If you don't, you'll come back to me for a trial.
Yes.
Okay. All right, make sure that you make that call, bring whatever witnesses or evidence will help you in that phone call. If the prosecutor asks for more information, see if you want to supply it or not, it's up to you. And once, I'll see if this case gets resolved. Once you receive that, notice that yellow sheet, that's all I need today. A not guilty plea is entered. Make sure you make the call on August
All right.
16th.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Have a good rest of your
You
night.
too. Toria Janita Allison? Did I say that correctly? Tori Janita Allison.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Allison, do I have your correct address in Balsam Road in
No.
Allison?
No,
What's your address, ma'am?
it's 2022 Taft Street, T-A-F-T, Madison, Wisconsin, 53713.
So Taft, like the president.
Yeah.
So 2022 Taft Street, Madison, Wisconsin, 53713.
Correct.
Okay. You've been cited for operating without a valid license. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Okay, now, do you understand what operating without a valid license is?
Yes.
All right. I want to check the forfeiture range on this. So it's a $124 forfeiture, which is $50 fine plus costs. The forfeiture range on this meaning that you can be fined as little or as much as follows. 343. $0 to $200. So you're about a quarter of the way up the scale. You understand that as well?
Yeah.
All right. Now, so you have any procedural questions regarding this citation?
I did go get my permit.
Do you have a valid license?
I got it after the fact. I had to wait till I get the funds and all of that. I just was able to go get my license.
But you have a valid license now?
Yeah, well, it's not a license, it's a permit. I go take the test on the 17th of August to get my valid license.
Okay, so there are a couple ways. What I would suggest is that we could do, because you're waiting, you're about to get a license.
Yeah.
So there's a couple ways we can do this. We can continue the case to see if you pass the test, or you can enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutor. And either way, it gives you more time to actually get a valid license then.
What's the first one you said again? I'm sorry.
A continuance or a not guilty plea meet with the prosecutor?
If I do continuous, would it be possibly after the day of
It would be
August
back here.
17th?
We could continue it for 60 days,
Okay.
September 20th. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, that would be work fine.
Okay, we've got your updated address. We'll send you a notice of the next court date on, what was it, September?
September 20th.
September 20th, so. Okay, and you'll get that in the mail. If you don't get it, you've got a number on, actually, do we have anything we can give her for a number?
On our ticket,
Yeah.
Right, I still have my ticket.
Okay, so you can have the court number, you can always call in as well then. So,
Okay.
Okay. Look for that in the mail for the continuance of the September 20th court date then.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for coming in. Oh,
Oh, she has a hearing scheduled at 6. I don't know if you want to wait for the city attorney. What is the name?
Stacy Johnson.
This is the original agreement the city attorney had proposed in December and gave her 6 months to complete that, and she's looking for additional time.
oh, okay. Is the city attorney appearing tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
at 6.
So I want to wait till the city attorney appears at 6. I want the city attorney to weigh in on this. You're just going to ask for more time, is my
No,
understanding?
I completed it.
Oh,
Oh, then you didn't even, you can just get that to us, you didn't even have to
Okay.
appear.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, it was completed.
Good.
All right. Stacy Johnson, Second Harvest. Oh, wonderful. Grace Baldwin. She signed off on it. 10 hours of community service. She did that. I'll make the finding that Second Harvest is a charitable organization, so number one is complied. And you didn't get paid for it, correct?
Nope.
You were a volunteer?
Yes.
And that is not, and you normally don't work for Second Harvest anyway?
Nope.
All right, I'll find, and hold open for 6 months if dependent completes 10 hours community service and receives no non-traffic citations, dismissed. Have you received any no non-traffic citations in the past 6 months?
I did for no registration,
Uh-huh,
and was able to get that registered and bring in the proof
and then, to what court?
to here.
And the citation was dismissed?
Yes.
So,
correct.
when you received no non-traffic citations, I'll hold that it was not a conviction. So I'll find that you met the qualifications of community service, and that you met the agreement, and the court will dismiss your citation.
Thank you very much.
You need?
I could send it.
We'll send you a copy of all our paperwork then,
Okay,
so.
thank you guys very
All right,
much.
thank you. All right, we're in recess till 6, or maybe 15 minutes. How you doing?
Good. Just, I mean, it was crazy.
Natalie Miller. All right, sounds good.
Court will return to session.
There'll be no video, but he hears us and we can hear him.
Okay. So we'll call the first case, City of Stoughton versus Natalie Janelle Miller. Are you Miss Miller?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If you would like to have a seat at the table to my right and your left. Want to make sure that her microphone is turned on. Do you have my email? Okay. I'll note for the record, actually, the city attorney's, my understanding, is appearing by phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's see, let me take a look at this.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's right. All right. The city attorney is Isaac Brodke. Mr. Brodke, can you hear me? Okay. My microphone is on. Oh. pull up CCAP on it for me?
Sure. This was the one that got my attention here. This is not, I don't
Yeah.
use this computer too much.
Circuit Court. All right. We're waiting for the city attorney to appear. Is the city attorney on Zoom? As far as
Well,
we know?
he's there, but they're having trouble
Okay,
connecting.
they're
him.
going to connect them, so, okay, so they're connecting him. Well, I'll take that, it's Natalie Miller, correct? All right, she's nodding her head, yes. I don't know, that just hit
Well,
me.
they're on one.
Did this accident the suspension occurred, did that allegedly take place in Dane County?
No.
Okay, where was it located?
Williams County, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Your Honor, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Brodke. You want to state your appearance for the record?
Yes, sorry, Your Honor, Isaac Rodkey on behalf of the city of Stoughton.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brodke, and I'll make note for the record that he's appearing by Zoom. At the hearing, before me is Natalie Miller. Now, let me summarize the emails that I've received. Ms. Miller sent a letter to the court, and basically it looks like your license was suspended for an accident that happened back in 2009, that you're unaware, and that you were unaware your ex, according to your email, ex did not pay for insurance. All right. Now your license is suspended. They want a $5,000 down payment to release the license. You don't have either. You don't have either right now. You don't have the $5,000. You have two jobs, and one of them for security reasons. You need an occupational license. Okay.
I do.
All right. And Mr. Brodke, you weren't sure about some of the statutes, so I received this. Ms. Miller's email, so I thought I'd have a hearing on it. I just want to discover what I've learned, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, Your Honor, and I'm happy to explain sort of the city's perspective on.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you tell me the city's perspective and their position?
Sure. So I spoke to Ms. Miller a couple times, and I believe dating back a few months now, and the idea was being that we were willing to, and we still are willing to enter into a hold-open agreement, in the terms of which, if she provides proof of registration of either an occupational license or a reinstatement for license, the city would dismiss the citation.
Okay.
That's really sort of where we've been involved in it.
Okay. And your license is suspended, that's correct, Ms. Miller?
It is in Ohio.
In Ohio, and can you get a Wisconsin license, or is that suspension only up?
I went to the DMV, and this is where I talked to Mr. Brodke and emailed after I talked to him. When I went to the DMV, they said that in order for me to get an occupational license, I need a statement from the judge that I am approved to get an occupational license until I can pay the $5,000 down payment to get my license reinstated.
So was this, the Wisconsin DOT said this, basically?
Yes, they said because of the type of suspension on my license that I need a statement from the judge sent to the DOT to be able to receive an occupational license.
Okay, so Mr. Brodke, what I've actually had this happen to a couple of my clients, and if there's an accident, what the Wisconsin DOT makes you do is makes you place a deposit. It's under 344.12 through 344.22. Basically, they cite the procedures for a DOT to suspend it if there's no insurance. So basically, if there's an accident, there's no insurance, the DOT finds out about it, it makes the driver place a deposit with the DOT. It's a little unusual. This is in Ohio. Now, what I did was I looked through my municipal code to see if I can order an occupational license, and I couldn't find it one way or the other. So, but I wanted to kind of get the facts basis and spell out the law. So, ma'am, I'm not sure if I have the authority to do this, but I'll tell you what I will do. If this is okay, unless the city has any objections, I will send a letter to the State Department of Transportation. I'll say we had a hearing that you need an occupational license. It sounds like this occurred in Ohio. But before I do this, did you ever face a lawsuit over this accident?
I never received the court papers on it, but in the state of Ohio, the person who is driving is responsible what it is I had a bad ex, and he didn't tell me that.
Right, I understand that. But there was a judgment against you?
But that, not that I knew of. I received a letter a month after the court appearance.
And this was back in 2009?
It was.
Okay. Have you ever received any type of notice saying how much you owe, from Ohio?
$32,000.
Okay, okay. So what the $32,000 is, and then Wisconsin picked up on that, and then went to get the Wisconsin, you picked up this license, so they invoked probably this 344.12 through 344.22. So it's a $32,000 or a $5,000 down payment then, okay?
Yes.
But you can't get that unless you make the $5,000 payment. You can't make the $5,000 down payment until you start working or earning your fees. Did I sum that up correctly?
Pretty much.
Sounds about right.
Basically, I don't have the $5,000 because I just paid $21,000 in May for a house.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, at least.
So, you know.
Right, at least it wasn't a fight. So this is what I propose, unless the city has any objections, that I will, and you, if you want to just look at my order and draft this, I'll draft a letter to the Wisconsin Department of Transportation saying we had a hearing, you presented your case that that you need the job, and I'll find that you do need jobs, especially for security purposes. That you're in need of an occupational license. I'll write a letter to the court or the DOT indicating that yes, you appeared, you gave me a statement that you need a license. I'll find that to be factually based, and then I'll send a letter to the DOT requesting that or stating that I order, and I will order that you be able to obtain an occupational license. Now,
Thank you.
the Wisconsin DOT might say, I don't have the authority, I don't know, this has never come up before. But I'll write the letter, and if they grant your occupational license, then the case is resolved. They might have to say that a circuit court has to grant it instead. So I'm a municipal judge, I handle municipal ordinances. A circuit court judge is one that has more authority and a little more broader based cases than I do. But I'll write the letter and submit it to the DOT, and if it gets accepted, great. However, if we get rejected, and then it sends back to the and they say you need to get a circuit court judge approval for that, then I'll let you know that as well. So, does that sound, any objections from the city?
No, none whatsoever, Your Honor.
Okay. And I'm almost thinking that, well, let me try, my suggestion would be that let me try and submit a letter. If we get a rejection letter or you get a rejection letter, I would suggest that another pretrial conference is scheduled to see if you can resolve this. And yeah, well, let me leave it at that. I mean, I would strongly suggest the parties to work it out now, because if this was a suspension from 2009, I'll note that it's 14 years ago. It seems to me that it wasn't. It seems to me that this was a long time ago, and to help Ms. Miller back on her feet, that she'd be able to get her license. So that's what I'll say for now. So I'll order that, or myself. I'll provide the letter to the DOT, and we'll see if that resolves your occupational license status.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else in this case, Mr. Miller or Ms. Miller?
No.
Mr. Broadkey, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. All right. That case is adjourned. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
Court will call the next case, City of Stoughton versus James Hammis. Good evening, Mr. Hammis.
Evening.
City Attorney, you want to state your, Mr. Broadkey, do you want to state your appearance?
Yes, Your Honor. Isaac Brodke on behalf of the City of Stoughton.
Okay, we're here for tonight on a motion to reopen for Mr. Hammis. You want to tell the court why you filed the motion to reopen?
The location where the notices that were sent to is currently under construction, and I live with my son, who's on 600 East Main Street now.
What's the correct address for you?
Madam Clerk did email me the material, so I'm not saying that I didn't get notice, but obviously I either didn't pull down the notice or I didn't. And at the same time, the primary reason for the motion to reopen is that my son Adam, who lives at 600 East Main Street, is terminally ill, and it consumes, outside of my work responsibilities, I shuffle back and forth between two medical facilities, St. Luke's Transplant Center in Milwaukee and St. Mary's here in Madison. On June 7th, when I missed the pretrial conference with the city attorney, looking at my calendar list, I was heading to event at St. Mary's through an emergency service, and I'm his power of attorney, and so when he drops down into his space, I just didn't think of anything connected to anything other than this. So setting aside the specifics of June 7th, when I missed the hearing, I'm sure I got notice on the email. I didn't get notice on the mail, not that even people look at the mail. But the other premise is that I am part of Adam's transplant team. He is at St. Luke's right now in the transplant center for a transplant workup. It's really important that I have a available license to be able to drive, and this puts me at a points position where I would like at least the opportunity to talk to the city attorney for a disposition on at least 2 of them that I understood I was legally required to allowed to drive because I had gone and paid the ticket at over in East Troy a couple days beforehand. So that's the other reason, is that I obviously, being in a transplant circumstance that is connected to, you know, immediacy of getting to the hospitals and all those types of things, I certainly don't want this to be problematic as things circle around the potential for a transplant.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Amos?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. City's position?
Your Honor, obviously the city is sympathetic to Mr. Hammis's position here. The city is open to having another pre-trial and is willing to work with Mr. Hammis to schedule a time that works for him. I would appreciate if the court were to set a time, but certainly if Mr. Hammis reaches out, we can coordinate around his schedule hopefully in the next month and a half.
Okay, anything else from the city?
No, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Hammis, I'm concerned. You owe the city this court $22,000. That's a significant dollar amount. And because of this, you filed motions that are open in the past. And then you've also had numerous non-appearances. So this is going to be my order. I will request a $50 fee on each citation be paid. And once the $150 has been posted, I will approve the motion to reopen upon the filing of that fee, and I'll set it. When's our August date?
August 16th.
So long.
4:30, and then,
Yeah.
but like he said, if he just calls.
All right. So I will require a deposit of $150 be posted for that, and once that's posted, I'll set the pretrial conference for August 16th, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. And I'll note for the record that based upon the forfeiture is up to my discretion, and just the time spent on some of these is worth the $50 fee for each 3 citations, and I'll make that finding.
That's fine, and also I'd like to make sure it's clarified on the record. I have engaged in, over the past 10 years, a payment schedule with the state of Wisconsin that involves the collection of all your fees, and I paid over $22,000. So just keep that in. I do not, as I understand it, in terms of the state of Wisconsin, I believe that I have been recognizing my responsibility as a citizen of Stoughton, and if it's not, trust me, I will be told by the state of Wisconsin that there's more money owed.
My clerk just told me we haven't received any of that, so
Okay.
I don't know where it's going, but we're not receiving it.
I pay $500 a month. That's
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
So I don't know where it goes either.
Okay, all right.
And
With
then
the-
did you, I'm sorry, did you, Madam Clerk, did you see the 2 for Stacy that I can enter a pleas of not guilty on, or?
Oh, he had 2, we haven't gotten to the defaults
Okay,
yet, so he
sorry.
has 2 for tonight from Mike Stacy. Did you want to say not guilty on those?
Sure.
too?
We'll enter not guilty pleas on those behalf.
That's great.
So, okay. With a
And Your
posting
Honor,
of
where do I
150,
pay that to, Madam Clerk, or do I?
you
the
can
$50?
take that downstairs to the dispatch window then.
That's great, thank you. So, Mary, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, that was 150 total?
Correct.
Okay, sounds great.
Can you radio
Yeah, just
them
just notify them that that's what this is for.
Because I don't have anything I can give him to take down there. It's so he'll radio dispatch and let them know, and they'll take their money.
That's great, thank you.
And then we'll send you, where do we send the notice of the August 16th?
Let's do 600 East Main Street, because that's where Adam lives and that's where I stay all the time.
Stoughton, Wisconsin, 53589. Okay, we'll send you that notice to that address then. So-
Thank you.
All right, thank you. That motion is concluded. All right, what other ones do we have for tonight?
This, she hasn't shown up, another motion to reopen.
Okay, do we need Mr. Broadkey for anything else?
I don't believe so, unless,
Mr. Broadkey, unless you want to weigh in, you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only other thing I'd say is that I appreciate the court working this out with the call-in on short notice here.
Okay.
Thank you to you and the staff for that.
All right. We're in a different world post-COVID, and we might as well take advantage of technology, especially if we have it available to the court.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. Have a great night.
All right, thank you, you too.
Bye.
And when did I turn? I just must have turned it off. You could hear me before, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, Dasi Alanis Sanchez is a default judgment. Connor Beggs is a default judgment. Alex Baker is a default judgment. Mary Becker.
I'm sorry. The first one is a bond forfeiture.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Daisy Alanis Sanchez is a bond forfeiture. My apologies. Next one, Connor Beggs is a default judgment. Alex Baker is a default judgment. Mary Becker is a bond forfeiture. And then Jason Bogart entered a not guilty plea, okay? Natalie Bolden, default judgment. Mr. Bratland appeared, correct?
Yes, it's such a mess.
We had a continuance, that's right.
Okay, cancel.
Adam Breitschel is a bond forfeiture. Alana Brisky is a default judgment. Carl Brooks is a bond forfeiture. Brianna Bushy is a default judgment. Antonio Castro is a default judgment. Iana's Sina is a default judgment. Devon Clark is a default judgment. Devin Clark on both citations. Scotiana Sharona Coleman is a default judgment. Austin Collin is a default judgment. Michael Dickman is a default judgment. Jeremy Edmuel Feliciano Gonzalez is a default judgment. James Alejandro Fitzgibbon is a default judgment. Laura Galindo is a default judgment. Michael Geiger is a default judgment. Catherine Gower is a default judgment on both citations. Andrea Hance is a default judgment. Sergen Hassani is a bond forfeiture. Danasha Hatchett is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Vicky Hand is a bond forfeiture. Joseph Howell is a default judgment. Kenneth Johnson is a bond forfeiture. Lily Johnson is a bond forfeiture. Jaleel Kimbrough is a default judgment. Steve Larson is a default judgment. Matthew Likeness is a bond forfeiture.
I took your, I closed your computer, let me pull that out for you. He's basically pleading guilty.
Did he provide proof?
And I verified that it was.
Okay. It was a no-show, but it was a plea sheet. He pled guilty, but basically updated his registration. Upon the updated registrations, the court on its own motion will dismiss the citation. Tyler McDermott is a bond forfeiture. Jose Ramon Milan Colon is a bond forfeiture on 3 citations. Mary Jo Minter is a bond forfeiture. Cameron Montiel is a default judgment on both citations. 3 citations, excuse me. Matthew Oliva, bond forfeiture. Devin Olson is a default judgment. Danielle Olson is a bond forfeiture. James Peterson is a bond forfeiture. Locke Pham, upon the motion of the city, the citation is dismissed. Sean Pohl is a bond forfeiture. Was that Poole? No, Poole. Charles Ray is a bond forfeiture. Colin Reese is a default judgment. Neil Russell is a bond forfeiture. Sarah Roach is a default judgment. Norlicia Robinson is a default judgment. Mercedes Rickman is a bond forfeiture. Alexis Schmidt is a default judgment. Andrew Scott is a bond forfeiture. Tyler Sergeson is a default judgment. Jonathan Shank is a default judgment. Adnan Sharu is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Sean Simonson is a default judgment. Andrew Smith is a default judgment on both three citations. Daniel Spurloin is a default judgment. Brendan Swanson is a default judgment on 3 citations. Dennis Swanson is a default judgment on 3 citations. Casey Joe Swenson Adams is a default judgment on 3 citations. Logan Alexander Teague is a default judgment. Justin Tesh is a bond forfeiture. Thomas Underwood is a default judgment. David Usselman is a bond forfeiture. Michelle Voltaggio is a default judgment. Jason Wall is a default judgment. Rebecca Wells is a default judgment. Tim Worsland is a default judgment. Joe Tarius Williams is a default judgment. Jordan Williams is a bond forfeiture. Michael Williams is a default judgment. Corey Wurzbacher is a default judgment. Includes anything else? All right, court is adjourned. Thank you. I'm gonna go take the bottle home.
Can I